The Farmer Goes to Heaven, A Tale of Inequality. The Farmer Goes to Heaven is a lesser-known gem from the collection of Grimm's fairy tales. Like many of its brethren, it presents a seemingly simple narrative. Yet beneath the surface lies a profound commentary on societal inequalities. The tale doesn't just explore earthly disparities, it extends its gaze to the perceived fairness, or lack thereof, in the afterlife. It asks us to consider what truly matters in the eyes of eternity. Our story begins with the death of a pious peasant. He lived a humble life, close to the earth, and now finds himself at the pearly gates of heaven. Simultaneously, a wealthy lord, accustomed to earthly comforts and power, also breathes his last and arrives at the same celestial threshold. Saint Peter, the gatekeeper, greets the Lord with a grand fanfare. Music swells, angels sing, and the heavens themselves seem to rejoice at his arrival. It is a spectacle of divine welcome. But for the farmer, there is only silence. He stands unnoticed, seemingly invisible in the radiant light of heaven. This stark contrast immediately highlights the injustice he experienced in life. On earth, wealth and status often dictated treatment. The Lord commanded respect and privilege, while the farmer toiled in obscurity. It appears at first glance that these earthly hierarchies have somehow followed them beyond the grave. The farmer is left outside the gates, a silent observer to the Lord's triumphant entry. He watches as the celestial choir serenades the newcomer. He sees the angels bowing in reverence. This only solidifies his feeling of being overlooked, of being somehow less worthy. After what seems like an eternity, St. Peter finally acknowledges his presence and admits him into heaven. The farmer, understandably, expects a similar fanfare. He anticipates a celestial welcome, befitting a soul who lived a life of piety and hard work. He hopes for some recognition. Instead, he is greeted with a quiet, friendly welcome from a few angels. Their smiles are kind, their words are gentle, but there is no music, no singing, no grand celebration. The contrast is jarring. Confused and disheartened, the farmer finally musters the courage to question St. Peter. He asks why the Lord received such a magnificent welcome, while he, a humble servant of God, was met with relative silence. St. Peter's explanation reveals the story's central message. It challenges our assumptions about divine justice and the nature of true worth. It is a lesson in perspective. The perceived unfairness, St. Peter explains, stems from the rarity of the Lord's arrival. The poor, the humble, the pious farmers, they enter heaven daily, a steady stream of deserving souls. But the wealthy, those who have indulged in earthly pleasures and wielded worldly power, arrive only infrequently. Their presence in heaven is a special occasion, a noteworthy event. The celebratory welcome, therefore, is not a sign of greater love or favor. It is simply a recognition of the unusual nature of the Lord's arrival, a cause for celestial curiosity. The tale subtly suggests that echoes of earthly societal structures persist, at least in perception, even in heaven. While all souls are loved equally by God, the human tendency to prioritize the extraordinary remains. The story reminds us that true divine love is universal and unconditional. It is not swayed by wealth, status, or earthly achievements. It embraces all souls with equal compassion. The perception of justice, however, can be skewed by the frequency of certain arrivals. We are more likely to celebrate the unusual than to acknowledge the constant stream of goodness. The story subtly critiques the human tendency to prioritize the extraordinary. We often overlook the everyday acts of kindness and piety in favor of grand gestures and displays of power. This prioritization occurs even in the face of universal love and acceptance. It is a reflection of our own flawed human nature, a tendency to be impressed by the superficial rather than the substantial. The true message of The Farmer Goes to Heaven is timeless and profound. It reminds us that true value lies not in wealth or status, but in the inherent worth of each individual soul. It is a message of humility and equality, a reminder that earthly hierarchies are meaningless in the face of eternity. What truly matters is the content of our character, the kindness we show to others, and the devotion we have in our hearts. This message transcends the boundaries of life and death. It speaks to the enduring power of simple goodness and the ultimate triumph of humility over pride. It is a lesson we would all do well to remember.